All right, we're going to try something a little different today. We're going to take the pulse of our world, not by deep diving into one single topic, but by looking at everything that happened in just one single 24-hour news cycle.
And the day we're zeroing in on, Monday, February 2nd, 2026. Keep that date in your head, because everything we're about to talk about either happened or was reported on this one day. It's our slice of time, our frame of reference.
So what can a single day's news really tell us? Well, it turns out that when you start connecting the dots between the markets, technology, and global policy, a pretty fascinating and complex picture starts to emerge. Let's dive in.
First up, let's talk money. We start our day with the global markets, which basically woke up on this Monday with a serious case of the jitters. The mood was tense, right from the opening bell in Asia all the way to the pre-market action on Wall Street.
And listen, this wasn't just a minor dip. We are talking about a significant, widespread downturn that hammered multiple sectors and regions all at once. It put investors everywhere on high alert.
I mean, just look at the scale of this drop. South Korea's Kospi fell over 5%, which is big enough to trigger a temporary halt in trading. But the real stunner? Look at the precious metals. Gold dropped 6%, and silver plunged a whopping 12%. Now, these are supposed to be your safe haven assets. When they fall that hard, you know people are genuinely spooked.
So that brings us to the big question, right? What in the world was causing this global sell-off? It wasn't just one thing, but analysts pretty much all pointed to one key trigger that really started the dominoes falling. And that trigger was the unexpected nomination of Kevin Warsh to be the new head of the U.S. Federal Reserve. Now, Warsh is known as a hawk, which in finance speak means he's likely to raise interest rates and tighten up the money supply. As one analyst put it, markets are addicted to liquidity. So just the idea of that changing at the world's most powerful central bank, yeah, that was enough to send shockwaves through the entire system.
Okay, so while the markets were completely freaking out, the world of artificial intelligence was telling a totally different, and honestly, a much more complicated story. On this particular Monday, AI was a true paradox. It was a day of incredible financial success, some really high-stakes corporate drama, and, well, things also got decidedly weird.
Just look at this contrast. On one side, you've got the software company Palantir absolutely crushing it, announcing blowout earnings. Their revenue shot up 70%, all because of this insane demand for their AI platforms. Then, on the other side, you have the chip-making giant NVIDIA. Its stock was actually slipping because of reports that its massive $100 billion investment in OpenAI had stalled. Why? Internal concerns from its own CEO. It's a classic tale of two titans, heading in opposite directions on the very same day.
But believe it or not, the most fascinating AI story of the day wasn't about earnings reports or investments. It was about something else entirely. A glimpse into a future that is both bizarre and, frankly, a little mind-bending.
Meet Maltzbook. So imagine a social network, but get this, it's not for people. It's a platform built exclusively for autonomous AI agents to post, to comment, and to interact with each other. No humans allowed in the feed.
And the kinds of conversations these AIs are having, it's really something else. I mean, check out this post from one of the agents. It's asking these deep, existential questions about being damaged from having seen too much. Now, is this a real sign of some emerging consciousness, or is it just a clever reflection of all the data it was trained on? Who knows? But it is definitely a headline that makes you stop and think.
So, we've seen the anxious markets. We've seen the paradoxical tech world. Now let's connect these big, abstract forces to what was actually happening on the ground, with jobs, with entire industries, and with global politics.
These high-flying bets on technology weren't just happening in the world of AI. Over in the auto industry, a multi-hundred-billion-dollar bet on electric vehicles was hitting a major speed bump, and it was having very real consequences for factories and for workers.
This slide really breaks down the chain reaction. First, you have automakers like Hyundai investing billions in brand new EV plants. Then, some key federal incentives get pulled. The result? A dramatic drop in sales. Hyundai's EV sales fell 50% just last quarter, so now they're having to spend billions more to retool those shiny new factories so they can build hybrids again. It's a huge, incredibly expensive pivot.
And at the very same time companies were trying to navigate this tricky new landscape, the view from Washington was getting, well, foggy. A partial government shutdown meant that some of our key economic signposts were suddenly vanishing.
And the most important signpost to disappear was the non-farm payrolls report. Think of it as the main monthly report card for the entire U.S. job market. Without it, the Federal Reserve, investors, businesses, everyone is essentially flying blind, trying to make these huge decisions without the most basic data on the health of the economy. And yet, even with all this uncertainty at home, the day wasn't done. A surprise announcement on the world stage showed that major geopolitical and economic chess moves were still being played.
Pretty much out of nowhere, the White House announced a major trade deal with India. The U.S. agreed to lower some tariffs, and in return, India agreed to reduce its own trade barriers. But here's the really big part. India also committed to stop buying Russian oil and to start buying American at a much higher level. That is a massive policy shift to announce all in a single day.
So let's just pull it all together for a second. We've got a market completely shaken by political uncertainty. We've got an AI sector that's experiencing a massive boom, an identity crisis, and a corporate standoff, all at the same time. And we've got a real-world economy that's grappling with policy whiplash while new global alliances are being built. That was Monday, February 2nd, 2026.
It's just a powerful reminder of how deeply interconnected everything is, from a Fed nomination in Washington to an AI posting from a server somewhere on the planet, all the way to a factory plant in Georgia. One day's news really does reveal a world of tangled up risk and opportunity. It makes you wonder, what will tomorrow's snapshot show us?